Well, let me start then, and as people drop in at this stage, let's just get people to come in quietly, and we'll just start the meeting this evening, because it is a little bit of informality. We've never tried a district town hall meeting. I don't know if any of you work for American companies. I do, and we regularly have town hall meetings, which are for all staff to go to. And it's an information sharing session where they give us a bit of information about what's happening with the company, and we have a Q&A as we go along. Tonight, just for ease of this being repeated on Friday, the recorded section, we are going to just say, okay, we'll have Q&A at the end. All the presentations will happen first. If you have any questions, please pop them into the chat, and my team here will be answering some of those questions as we go along. And if you haven't had your question answered, then obviously you can raise it at the Q&A at the end. And I've seen this session tonight as a sort of impromptu table topic session. If you want to keep us on our toes tonight, please do, and ask us as many questions. We may not be able to answer them all, but we will take them away if we cannot. Now, we have 37 people, and it's going to slowly creep up, I'm hoping, to the 75 plus that have registered for this evening as we go. So I've invited you all as members to be here, as some of you district leaders as well, to be here today, to find out a little bit more of what's happening in the district. It's not very often we have the opportunity to catch up with you all in one place. So this is what this meeting was put on for tonight, with a little bit of informality, but also it's the time of Talk Up Toastmasters. And I thought, well, what an opportunity for the district leadership team to meet and greet you, Talk Up Toastmasters, and tell you what is going on at this moment in time within District 91, and just give you a bit of a flavour of what the next couple of months of this Toastmasters year can look like. The first piece of exciting news, which I am really, really happy to be sharing with you, is our district executive committee at very short notice, and with much help from my admin manager and her agility to get notices out, information out and support out. We had to decide if we wanted to take part in a global advertising campaign. And because that involves spending money from our district reserve account, I needed the DEC members to give the agreement for that to happen. And for those of you who don't know, Andy Newman, who's on this call tonight, is our credentials chair. So Andy then validated those particular results. And I am pleased to announce that District 91 is taking part in the global advertising campaign, which is kicking off mid-March, date still to be confirmed, and it's going to run for 90 days. And this is a really exciting opportunity. Toastmasters International are going to be targeting LinkedIn, particularly with this campaign, maybe a little bit of Facebook, but this means adverts will be going out which are targeted to our district. So for you as club leaders, for you as members, you may find that you start getting guests coming along, and how have they found out about you? Through some of the advertising campaigns that we are doing at the moment and supported by Toastmasters International. So a fantastic opportunity here to get behind everything that's going on global advertising campaign-wise. For you, making sure that your Find a Club details on Toastmasters International's website are up to date. And if you are still meeting online, you can pop in there that you're meeting online still, so people know how to find you. So do have a look at those details. But I am really pleased that we have this opportunity at a time when it's been challenging to get guests over the door, over the line, into the virtual room, then for them to come along, and this global advertising campaign supports all of that work that's going to happen. So brilliant. The next piece of fantastic news is your division directors loved this one. They really, really did. I set them a challenge. And the reason I set them this challenge is it's 80 days to charter a new club. And the reason that we have this challenge of 80 days to charter a new club is our club growth director was being swamped with the amount of requests that we were getting to actually start clubs in our district. We have 8 divisions in our district, and she was able to produce a lead for each division to be able to take away, to work on, to support the new club activity. I know that there's some of the division directors are on the call tonight. We kicked this off on the 5th of February at our meeting. Officially, the 80 days runs until the 26th of April. And then there'll be some form of prizes to be given out at the end of this on which division can launch their clubs in 80 days. And I am so excited about this, because when we look at the numbers, we can actually make ourselves a distinguished district if we manage to get all of these clubs over the line, as well as all the other new club activity that is going on. And as some of you that joined the call early just heard, that there's some activity going on in Wembley. So if you can go to Wembley next Tuesday, there's some activity there. So that's fantastic as well. The other bit of exciting news, which also comes into club building activity, is we are going to be making a video. And this is a competition to go in with Toastmasters International. Again, Club Growth Director Diane is working on this in the background at this moment in time. We have to submit our video by the 15th of March. And this particular video is obviously then up for a prize, and we can win prizes. You know how we like prizes in District 91. But it also means that this particular video can then be shown at the convention and will be started to be used as part of a wider marketing campaign. So it's a really fantastic opportunity for make some noise about what we're doing here, use our creativity, talk up Toastmasters. And I personally am so excited about this, because it just allows people to give something back to Toastmasters, as well as producing something that we can then benefit from, you can all benefit from, and your members can benefit from too. So this is the three key things which I'm excited about: the global advertising campaign, the kicking off the 80 days to charter a club challenge, and the fantastic club building video that we are going to be producing to take part in the Toastmasters International worldwide competition. We are going those three things at this moment in time. So thank you for everybody who's joined so far. For those that missed the beginning, I'm sure we'll be recapping and there'll be questions as we go through tonight. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and my team who are here tonight with me can support answering those questions. I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of this. I made the assumption that people knew that I was the district director, but for those of you that didn't know that, I am actually your district director. I have on the call with me tonight my Programme Quality Director, Rupert Nasser, my Club Growth Director, Diane Richardson, my Administration Manager, Emily McQuillan, my PR Manager, who's disappeared at this moment in time, Olga Galenko, and I have also on this call, where have you gone? Andy Newman, who is our Credentials Chair for the district as well. And for those other people that don't know, Chris Bowden is my husband. It is true, it's not just a rumour. So with all of that, they're the introductions for the team that are here today. We also have our Conference Director, Debbie Williams, here with us as well, who we'll be speaking to later. And we have other bits of information we will be sharing with you. So at this stage, I'm now going to hand over the meeting to Rupert Datta. Rupert's going to talk about some of the activity that we have going on, particularly excited to see the Skills Week that we put together and the Wellness Week, which is coming up thick and fast in the next 2 weeks. So great work there from the Programme Quality team to deliver more training and opportunities for us. So Rupert, can I hand over to you to run the next part of the section? Over to you, Rupert Datta.
Thank you very much, Madam District Director. And in true Toastmasters style, I'm going to start with a quote from the first female international president of Toastmasters, Helen Blanchard. Some of you may have heard this before. If you get out of Toastmasters all that there is to get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. And I say that because we are a lifelong learning organisation. Many of you will also know who Simon Bucknell is. In 2017, second place world champion in public speaking, who yesterday posted on LinkedIn about Toastmasters being a gym. Many of you will also follow Matthew Saeed, who is a former Olympian, table tennis player, and was a member of District 91 a few years ago. And he talks a lot about growth mindset. Ultimately, as Toastmasters, we are in the business of personal and professional development. And my role as Programme Quality Director this year is to oversee the education and training that happens in the UK South. I want to summarise that in the tangible and the intangible that's happened so far this year. We're February 2022, and we've processed just under 1,000 educational awards. Now that's good, that's kind of expected and not dissimilar to last year. but we have a vision of 1 award per member. And we've got 3,600 unique members in District 91 at the moment. One of the key achievements I think we have had so far this year is more emphasis on what's known as the Pathways Mentor Programme. Last year, 6 members of District 91 completed it. So far this year, 7 members of District 91 have completed it. I've had the pleasure of sending out 53 Pathfinder Awards, and as of today, 45 Triple Crown Awards. So there's still some work to do education-wise, but we're doing really well. But it's not about what I send out. It's about how these achievements are celebrated by yourselves as individuals going through the programme, but also what's happening in your clubs. And I'm personally loving seeing level completion certificates being shared on WhatsApp groups, but more so on LinkedIn. And if you don't follow Microsoft speakers on LinkedIn, I suggest you do, because they are a really good example of a corporate club that is sharing every single level completion certificate from their members and talking about what the gain is. Personally this week, I've had 3 or 4 conversations with individual members. 2 of them have been about the High Performance Leadership Project. Sometimes we get to a point in our Toastmasters career where, speech from meeting to meeting is not enough. And that's where stretching yourselves to the next level counts. I think with the High Performance Leadership Project, those 2 conversations may turn into district level projects. Early today, I sent a message to a member, congratulating them on something that showed up on the education report. And their response to me was, do you know what? I think I'm 2 speeches away and the DTM project away from my 2nd Distinguished Toastmaster Award. So that's someone that's clearly been in Toastmasters a while. Someone that is practicing lifelong learning. Somebody on this call has only been a Toastmaster for 1 month. And on Monday, we had a conversation. They're not from my club. We had a conversation, and they are now part of the programme quality team. So that's somebody that is looking for education and opportunities, and I'm going to give them a shout out. Julio, welcome to District 91 and welcome to my team, and thank you for being curious and showing us what Toastmasters is all about. We move on to education and training. So again, in November, I went to an open house meeting in person. Training period for club officers starts in November as well. And I met a lady at this particular event who I then saw at the club officer training session, which took place online. This lady's only been a member a year. She is a club officer and is aspiring to be at least VP Ed in her club next year. So ask yourselves, is your club providing those learning opportunities that are sometimes intangible and sometimes they are tangible? Those of you that were at our district council meeting in May may realise that a motion was raised to review club officer training. And Helen and I set up an education and training committee that did review it. And actually the findings were fantastic. So the report is available on the District 91 website. But one of my key takeaways was the importance of role-based training, not just at officer level, but for everything that we do in Toastmasters. Helena, Diane and I also attend training, and it's an opportunity as part of our roles. I've posted a lot about that on Facebook for those of you that are my Facebook friends. There was a lot of that activity in January, and it's fun to meet our counterparts in different parts of the world. Your division and area directors get the opportunity to attend training, leadership training. But one of the things that's more important than that is that we've got a curriculum to follow. And the hours and the time that we give to the training that's part of our roles is not necessarily enough. You'll be familiar with the Sunday night webinar series, who this year is being run by John Drinkwater. And that's another opportunity for us to give you the opportunity for additional training that may not get covered in this session. Helena talked about the extra skills week, which we're putting on towards the end of the month. And that's being put on specifically as how-to sessions that we're being asked about. That's not saying that you have to attend everything, but there might be a topic within that week that's of interest to you. So as an example, hybrid is being covered in that week. Starting a new club is being covered in that week. Guest to member is being covered in that week. Retention, and also a pathways pit stop, which actually, even 4 years on, is actually really important. You may also be aware that we run speaker to trainer courses, and my target this year with our trainers bureau manager Sam Warner was to put on 6 courses. So by the end of this year, there have been 6 opportunities for you as members of District 91. We also need to remember that we learn by doing. So sometimes a training session is organised by someone who's doing it for the very first time. And I remember, even though I have done training in my commercial career, when I first organised a club officer training as area director, some of the feedback was fantastic, but some of it was not so great. But I took that on and made it better for the second attempt. All of us are learning. All of us are continuing to learn. And please remember that when you do attend training sessions, and remember the purpose of each session is different. Not all of them are there to entertain. That's what your stand-up comedy nights are there for. This session is more for information, but also engaging in dialogue with yourselves. Talked about the gym, and we're a gym for communication. Now, some of you will know how I feel about WhatsApp. Now, if WhatsApp is your primary method of communication, or your primary tool when you go to your gym, I'm going to invite you to, tomorrow, use a different tool. Pick a different equipment. It could be a treadmill, and pick up the phone. I've personally had some fantastic conversations this week in particular, by picking up the phone. And yesterday I appointed one of the contest chairs for the district conference. Every good gym also needs some downtime and a spa time. So I'm going to hand over now to Clinton Wingrove, who's going to talk about Wellbeing Week, which is our spa that takes place at the end of the month. Over to you, Clinton.
Thank you, Rupa, and welcome everybody. Delighted to be with you. Helena posed me a challenge. Helena said, can you do a 15-minute introduction to your taster to your 20-odd minute session that's going to take place in Wellbeing Week? So I'm going to use that principle next time I go to the restaurant. Can I have a taster that's actually nearly 3/4 of the meal? So many, many years ago, I worked for 3M, and I spent millions of their money implementing some software to run their major distribution centre in Bedford. And it produced a return on investment, but it wasn't as big as we expected. And that got me interested in why. It could have been career limiting in many companies, but 3M decided to send me to the US, to St. Paul, to study behavioural engineering, to understand why this hadn't worked as well as it had. And from that day forward, I've had a passion for how do we achieve productivity without burnout. And in those way back distant years, 2 years after the wheel was invented, the concept of wellness wasn't often discussed, but 3M were very much advanced. Now, Toastmasters is about the power of 3. So that's the power of 1. How do we increase productivity as a passion? Secondly, my father, somebody who I respected throughout my life, taught me a very important philosophy which has helped me cope with my wellness over the years. He said, son, don't be miserable. Too many people in the world are better at it. And I generally apply that philosophy throughout my life. And then the third principle that I've discovered was when I did research with Dr. Marciano, and some of you may have attended one of my sessions on super teams. Dr. Marciano and I looked at why is it you can take a group of stunningly mediocre people and they'll absolutely smash any goal that you share with them? And yet you can take a group of immensely talented people and frequently they struggle. And what we discovered was the differentiating factor is the level of respect that exists between that group of people. And one of the things I've always admired about Toastmasters is it doesn't matter which club you go to, in which area, in which district, in which division, there's a high level of respect. We all understand that we're there, as Rupa has just said, to learn. And I think if we bring those three things together, we can start to spot some of the things that might be useful. So what am I going to be talking about next week? I was asked to look at the issue of time management, prioritization. How does this affect us? And this concept of, I'm a Toastmaster, but how am I going to fit this in? And I don't know about you and your own clubs, but certainly our club, we're having a number of people saying that they're overwhelmed, they're stressed, they're working long hours, they're struggling to get to meetings. And that's something we've seen in the past, but it seems to be rising. We know in the UK that anxiety and burnout is dramatically on the increase. It's been estimated that this can be costing something in the order of 26 billion a year for corporates in terms of lost productivity. And of course, that has a ricochet effect because those are the very people frequently who are joining Toastmasters. Now, of course, many of you who are on this evening have solved the problem. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be able to devote this time. But even so, most of us can learn something. So what I want to look at, first of all, next week is why does there seem to be a lack of time? We've known for millennia, since we came out of the savannah, we've known that there's only 24 hours in a day. And why is it that some people seem to be able to do so much more with it and some people don't? And only recently we're starting to learn, as we study neuroscience for all sorts of different reasons, we're starting to understand that there's actually psychological reasons why many of us don't make very good use of time. There are psychologically very good reasons why many of us believe we can do what we can't, only to be anxious and concerned. And of course, that affects many of us if we take on roles. So those of us who've taken on a role within a Toastmasters club, it's important that we start to understand the dynamics, to understand the issues that we face and why those occur, because frequently knowledge about the cause enables us to identify some of the things that we can do. The second thing I want to look at is what and who controls your use of time. Very often people say, I can't manage my time. When I challenge them, what I discover frequently is they actually make very little attempt to do so. I was working with a club officer recently on a private consulting engagement through their employer. And I said, can you show me your calendar? And this individual showed me their calendar. And guess what? It was packed. It was back to back with meetings. And I said to them, can you share with me now how many of those blocks of time that are blocked out in your calendar are not meetings? And there was deathly silence. And he said, well, all the things in there are meetings. And I responded with, so what you're actually telling me then is that everybody other than you manages your time. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, if everybody's putting in meetings and you're putting nothing in your calendar, you're the only one who's not managing your time. Now, that's a provocative statement, but next week we'll explore some of the very simple things that indicate whether we've actually taken control or not. And then I'll cover, I don't feel great. What can I do about that? Because many of us end the day feeling anxious, feeling stressed, and there's a lot of poor quality statistics saying how productivity has increased. That evidence is genuinely suspect. What we're seeing now is that the blurring between personal and work life has become immense, that many people are actually working much, much longer. And of course, that means that there are lots of consequences. So during the session next week, I'll explore 3 areas. What can you do to take care of yourself? Very simple techniques that we can apply. What can you do to take control? Not so that you can manage time, you can't do that. But what you can do is manage what you do with it. And then thirdly, linking back to the issue of super teams. How do we interact optimally with others? Because for the vast majority of us, the reason we don't have a lot of time for us is that other people have a lot of our time for them. So I hope it'll get you to think about how you manage your time, how you take control, and how you interact with others. If you can, I'll be delighted to see you on the session next week. So can I please hand back to Rupa?
Thank you very much, Clinton. And I know I'm certainly looking forward to Wellness Week as well. So we've had gyms, talk with Olympians. Most of you should know by now that there is a gavel race taking place. And in 78 days' time, we will see the results of the gavel race at our flagship event of the year, which is our annual district conference. So to talk a little bit more about our district conference in May 2022, I'd like to introduce this year's conference director, Debbie Williams.
Thank you. It gives me the greatest pleasure to provide you with an update for the annual district conference. Behind the scenes, the wonderful conference team have been working hard and are still in the throes of organising an amazing event. We've taken on board feedback and lessons from last year's awe-inspiring conference. As such, we will be using a fantastic conference platform to add to the experience of this year's 3-day event taking place on the 6th, 7th and 8th of May. 3 days of fun. The overall theme for the conference is Everything is Possible. Each day has a separate sub-theme. Friday is motivation, Saturday's theme is inspiration, and Sunday's theme is education. Each theme day will have relevant associated speakers providing stimulating, motivating, and highly educational speeches and workshops. We want you to take as much value as possible from each day. Keynote speakers will be announced leading up to the event to whet your appetite even further by our PR team. This is an online conference, but if possible, we hope to include a hybrid workshop as part of your conference experience, but I still need help in order to realise this. So if you would like to get involved, then please let me know. The conference is about you, and you are invited to respond to the messages requiring a call for speakers and MCs. Let's not forget that another key highlight is a district contest. 4 contests, table topics, humorous, evaluation and international. We also need volunteer functionaries for these contests, so please put yourselves forward. Tickets will be on sale very shortly. As Rupa has mentioned, we have a gavel race taking place. Each of the 8 divisions were provided with a special gavel. We wanted to mark the start of the conference season in a different way, similar to that of the Olympic torch going from city to city. Each division were challenged with the task of getting the gavel to every club in their divisions to celebrate the fact that the conference was about each of those members, to bring about camaraderie, fellowship, excitement, and a bit of competition as each division races to be first to successfully complete the task by the end of March. We've enjoyed receiving your photos and videos which have shaped the gavel race promotion videos. If your club is still as yet to receive the gavel, if you are itching to star in the next promo video, then please ask your area directors to chase where the gavel is. Please be as creative as possible, getting the gavel from one club to the next. Send in your videos or photos, and let's all have fun with this. The gavel race will feature as part of the opening ceremony of the conference, as we discover which division finished first and which was the most creative. We also want to know who came in second and third as well. Right now, it's all hands on deck. If you'd like to take part, then please get in touch. And I'm going to leave you with the latest or the very last gavel race video. So if you bear with me for 1 second, I will share that with you. Thank you very much, and over to you, Madam District Director.
Thank you so much, Debbie. If people haven't had that opportunity to see those particular videos, they are often posted. Look out for them on social media. They are fantastic. And I know that, and Clinton will know from last night, we were part of the gavel, weren't we, last night, Clinton, at our club meeting? We were there, and photos have been taken, and it'll be shared soon, I'm sure. So definitely, Division D is in the race. Mazima, you'll be pleased to know Division D are definitely in the race. Thank you very much, Debbie. Now, this is now our opportunity to open the floor to ask any questions that you would like of us. And I will at this time ask the Zoom master to pause the recording